Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our wake-up call today. I'm Jennifer, calling you from Oklahoma, and we're happy to have you on today. And I'm very excited to bring on a friend and mentor, fellow Oklahoman, calling from Oklahoma City. He and his wife have been great parts of our company, mentors, business partners, and they're really an inspiration. They're youth pastors in Oklahoma City, impacting a lot of lives, many that they don't even know. And I want to invite Mr. Chris Smith on the line. Chris, are you there?
I am, and thank you very, very much, Jennifer. It's fun doing these calls. I get to do them with Patty every Wednesday, and every now and then Andy's traveling or something, and gives me the opportunity to work with Jennifer, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So as you guys know, we're going through the book, 100 Ways to Motivate Yourself and Change Your Life Forever by Steve Chandler. And like every book, when you read the title, sometimes you have to say, well, heck, I'd like to change my life forever, so I probably should read it, right? So that's what we're doing together here today. We're in chapter 12, and it's called Put Your Library on Wheels. And y'all that were with us yesterday when Patty was going over chapter 11, it said it was called Find Your Master Key, and it talked about Napoleon Hill's book, and I believe it was called, what was it called? The Keys to Financial Wealth or something like that. But nevertheless, the impact that book had on our author's life. So he kind of continues that same subject today in chapter 12. So here we go. It says, one of the greatest opportunities for motivating yourself today lies in the way you use your drive time. And by the way, it made me think that a lot of people may be in their drive time as they're on this call with us in the morning. So anyway, it says, there is no longer any excuse for time in the car to be downtime or frustrating or time that isn't motivating. With a huge variety of audio books, CDs, podcasts, all kinds of different digital ways to listen now that are available, it says you can use your time on the road to educate and motivate yourself at the same time. When we use our time in the car to simply listen to hip-hop or rock and roll or country music or just curse traffic, we are undermining our own frame of mind. Moreover, by listening to tabloid-type news programs for long periods of time, we actually get a distorted view of life. News programs today have one goal: to shock and sadden the listener. The most vulgar and horrific stories around the state or the nation are searched for and found. I experienced this firsthand when I worked at the daily newspaper. I saw how panicky the city desk would get if there was no murders or rapes that day. I would watch as they tore through the wires, searching for stories to see if there was news items in other states that could be gruesome enough to save the front page. If there was no drownings, they would reluctantly go with a near drowning. Anybody seen that headline before? Near drowning today at the lake. So anyway, it says there's nothing wrong with this. It's not immoral or even unethical. It feeds the public's hunger for bad news. It's actually what people want. So in a way, it's a service. But it reaches its most damaging proportions when the average listener to the car radio believes that all the bad news is a true and a fair reflection of what's happening in the world. It's not. It is deliberately selected to spice up the broadcast and keep people listening. It is designed to horrify because horrified people are a relevant audience, and advertisers like it that way. And riveted audience, and advertisers like it that way. The media have also found ways to extend the stories that are truly horrible so that we don't hear them just once. If a plane goes down, we can listen all week long as investigators pick through the wreckage and family members weep before the microphone. A week later, playing the last words of the pilots found in the black box on the air extends the story even further. In the meantime, while we are glued to the news stations, air safety is better than it's ever been before. Literally millions of planes take off and land without incident. Deaths per passenger mile are decreasing improving year after year as technology for safe flight improves. But is that news? No. And because because of my seminar schedules required that I travel a lot in the air, I can see up close what the so-called news has done to our psyche. Simple turbulence in the air will cause my fellow passengers' eyes to enlarge and their hands to grip the armrest in terror. The negative programming of our minds has had a huge impact on us. If we were to be more selective with how we program our minds while we're driving, we could have some exciting breakthroughs in two important areas: knowledge and motivation. There are now hundreds of audiobook series on self-motivation and how to use the internet, on health, on goal setting, and on all the useful subjects that we need to think about if we're going to grow. As Emerson once said, we become what we think about all day. I first heard this sentence long ago while driving in my car listening to Earl Nightingale's audio program. If we leave what we think about to chance or a tabloid radio station, then we lose a large measure of control over our own minds. Many people today drive a great deal of time. With motivational and educational audiobooks, it has been estimated that drivers can receive the equivalent of a full semester in college with just 3 months' worth of driving. Most libraries have large sections devoted to audiobooks, and all the best and all the current audiobooks are now available on the internet. Are all motivational programs effective? No, some might have not moved you at all. That's why it's good to read the customer reviews before buying one. But there have been so many times when a great motivational audio played in my car that has had a positive impact on my frame of mind and my ability to live and work with enthusiasm. One moment stands out in my memory above all, although there have been hundreds. I was driving in my car one day listening to Wayne Dyer's classic audio series, Choosing Your Own Greatness. At the end of the long, moving argument for not making our happiness dependent on material objects that are hanging out there in the future, Dyer said, "There is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way." And I thought that was pretty impactful as well. That one thought eased itself into my mind at that moment and never left. It is not an original thought, but Dyer's gentle presentation, so filled with sincere joy and so effortlessly spoken, changed me in a way that no other audio of wisdom ever could have. That's one of the powers of audiobooks, form of learning. It stimulates an extremely intimate one-on-one experience. And then he goes on to list a few of his favorites, and he says Wayne Dyer, Maureen Williamson, Caroline Miss, Barbara Scheer, Tom Peters, Nathan Brandon, Earl Nightingale, Alan Watts, and Anthony Robbins are just a few mentors, just a few motivators whose tapes have changed my life. You'll find your own favorite. You don't have to find time to go read at the libraries. Forget the libraries. You are driving one. So anyway, kind of a long chapter, and I'm sorry I am not the best reader sometimes, but the impact of the chapter I hope still got through to you. I know my personal experience along in this subject is very impactful to me. I don't feel that I read really well. A lot of times I have to read 2 or 3, 4 times or more to actually comprehend. Audiobooks have actually been my breakthrough. I listen to most everything that I read now, and I'll read along with it as I'm listening. It gets to a deeper part of my subconscious when I do that, and has a more stick to it, if you will. It seems to stay in my mind a little better, and oftentimes I'll be listening to an audiobook even a 3rd or 4th time, and I'll know what's said next. It really does sink in a lot better to me. And then ones that I've listened to dozens or even hundreds of times really stick with me. But one of these things that I remember from one of the first audio programs I was listening to, but someone had quoted Henry Ford, and Henry Ford said, "If you believe you can do a thing, or believe you can't, you're right. And from that moment on, it became part of who I was. It became part of my philosophy. It became part of my belief system. And, man, I've just been addicted to audiobooks and audio learning, and it's really had a deep impact on my life. Mark Victor Hansen is one of love his voice and how he sounds, and it feels like we're best friends sometimes when I'm sitting there listening to it. But anyway, with that being said, I'll turn it over to Jennifer. I know she's had experience in this department as well, and actually got to hang out with Tony Robbins, I think, a time or two. But nevertheless, I'll turn it over to you, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you. I absolutely agree. And I'm a lot like you in the reading factor. Like, I have to sometimes read it numerous times to comprehend it and to remember it. So I love doing audiobooks as well. And there's accessible, just like the bad things are accessible that want to take our mind to bad places. There are so much good things out there. The podcast, you can just Google and find things, audio, social media, reach out to a friend. I just reminded me, you talked about Tony Robbins in the book did. I have attended a lot of his seminars, and I actually have a ton of his CDs. I just need to find a CD player because my car doesn't have it anymore, to be able to go back and listen to a lot of those. I was really one that I used to not listen to a lot of personal development or read books and things like that. And when I joined our company, that was something that was extremely encouraged for growth and leadership. And so I started doing that with the books, and then eventually the audio books, and traveling and going to meetings, or even an hour and 45 minutes one way to my hometown. So I have all that time. Occasionally I put on some music to sing really loud. It's not good to wake myself up, but I normally always put it back to the audiobooks to listen, to learn, and to put good things into my mind. The media is definitely sent to distract and cause distress in our world, and it distracts us from a lot of things, our work, our personal health, our family, and things like that. So that choice, there's a chapter 4 actually that we did together, I think last time. It was keeping the eye on the prize and focusing on the goals. Like, that encompasses that. When you're listening to news or things that are negative and things, just think, is this really helping me get where I need to be in my life, in my relationship, in my business, and things like that, even in my health? Because even with Google, you can Google one thing, it can take you down a whole rabbit hole to a bad thing of something that's going on in your health or something like that too. So the news, social media, and everything like that, and we do become what we think about all day. You said that. I think it's too choosing what fits you. Even though I've been to a lot of Tony Robbins stuff and listened to a lot of his things, I don't always agree with things. And I think even in our business and mentorship, there's some people that have said they do business a certain way, and I thought, that doesn't necessarily jive with me, but I like this part. So you kind of take bits and pieces of who you're learning from and what you're listening to and fit it into how it makes you, and then you create how you do things, and then definitely turn and pass that on. One of the things I said on that last call was like the state our mind is in. This was from Tony Robbins' event when I listened to, but state, story, strategy. The state our mind is in helps create the story we tell ourselves, and that story is what helps us create the strategy to do what we need to do. So if our mind is in chaos or worry or distress because of what we're listening to, we're not going to tell ourselves a very good story. And within that, we're going to be in a place where we really create a strategy to get out of something, or to create something, or to do something in our business, or to change things in our life. So definitely focus on what you're listening to, and I challenge you to do that today. And if you need help with anything, please post in our groups and stuff like that, and we'll absolutely help you find mentors and good things to listen to. So, Chris, anything else you want to add? Are we ready to close up?
No, I think that's perfect. I'm glad I got to do the call with you, and great wisdom, and appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a great day.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Reminder, these are Monday through Friday, 8:15 Central Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for being on today.